If it's June and it's high school basketball, it'll be one thing. It's the World Series of high school basketball. It is Indiana and Kentucky. And for Indiana, it is the fifth doubleheader in 7 days involving their All-Stars. And the Indiana girls looking for a sweep in Kentucky for the first time in 8 years. Today's game from Gainbridge Fieldhouse on the ISC Sports Network, presented in part by Coca-Cola of Kokomo, proudly part of Kokomo since 1907. By Duke Homes, many promise, we deliver. By the Ed Martin Automotive Group, the only name you need to know. By Forum Credit Union, helping people live their financial dreams for over 80 years with innovative product services. Visit them online, forumcu.com. By the Indy 11, World's Game, Indiana's team. Get your tickets at indy11.com/tickets. By Lee Company, Indiana's largest school equipment supplier. And by the Pearson Automotive Tennis Center, 8 year-round world-class indoor courts in Zionsville. Alongside Jan Bozier, my name is Greg Rakestraw. Thank you so much for joining us. And Jan, you and I have the honor of doing state championship games for high school hoops in this building. I know you were here a year ago. It is wonderful to be back doing this game in this building that I'm not sure has ever had a run like it has had in the last 4 months. Think about this. NBA All-Star Game, Pacers playoff games to the Eastern Conference Finals, sellouts for Caitlin Clark, the NCAA first and second rounds, and now the World Series of high school basketball.
Man, it's super special. I want to go back to 1976, Greg. First Miss Basketball, Judy Warren, got to watch her play, and what a special honor to be Miss Basketball. We'll talk more about the current, but love what it's done. Look how far women's basketball has come in the state of Indiana, and I really like this group. I really like how they played. We'll talk more about what they did last night.
Let's do that right now. 90-79, Indiana beats Kentucky. Julianne Woodard had 23 points. She does a bit of everything. The Jennings County Panther on her way to Michigan State. We saw her last year for the Junior All-Stars. She is clearly amongst the best players in the state of Indiana.
Yeah, and I think the good news for her is she's really starting to show her upside. Played really well in the junior-senior game. Really played well last night. Has led them in scoring.
Trinity Rowe missed basketball for Kentucky. Unfortunately, an injury. She is out tonight, so they are down to 10 players. Frankly, it will make life very easy in terms of subs are concerned, trying to make sure everybody gets the adequate minutes. Jordan Poole is going to play at Purdue, had 19 for Team Indiana. Miss basketball, Chloe Spreen had 12 points in last night's contest. Reagan Wilson rounded out an 11-point effort in terms of those in double figures. Again, that's a pretty solid core four of that group that will feature prominently for this Indiana All-Star team and head coach Andy McGuire tonight.
Yeah, I think the senior class really maybe got a little bit of wake-up call when the juniors got them, and you had that game on Wednesday. I thought last night they played really well. Their defense was solid, holding Kentucky to 79 points. They shot the three incredibly well. They'll have to do that again today. And to have four girls in double figures, I think they really played a complete game.
Shaylin Steele with 25 led the way for Kentucky last night. She is going to play at Penn State. 15 for Destiny Jones. She's going to play at the Division II level at West Georgia. And Reagan Bender will play at the University of Louisville. She had 12 points. Those were the three Kentucky players in double figures for last night's contest. Jan, what are you keying on as far as this game getting underway?
Well, clearly, the Indiana girls would love to sweep Kentucky for the first time in a while. That would be huge. On the other side, Kentucky wants no part of being swept, so look for them to really try to pick up their game and defeat Indiana. I think Indiana has to shoot the ball well. That's their MO. If they come out and shoot as well as they did from three, they'll have a great shot. Now, the other part, I thought Indiana did a much better job of getting to the free throw line. They didn't do that so well in the other games they played. Last night they got the free throw line. They shot the ball well. All pieces of their game, except rebounding, was very solid.
Chad Nickham serves as the public address voice of this event here inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and they're going to bring you tonight's national anthem as well as the announcement of the entirety of the rosters for both Kentucky and Indiana. So once again, let's listen in. We'll also have the singing of the state songs at some point in time tonight, but right now it's the national anthem. Let's please take a listen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Tremendous rendition of our national anthem. And once again, let's turn it back over to Chad Nickum for the introduction of the rosters for each of these two great basketball states.
First, let's meet the Kentucky All-Star. Kentucky Games Director Scott Chalk. The head coach from Pikeville, Christy Oram. Assistant coaches, Donna Boyer of Louisville Sacred Heart. From Pikeville, Robert Oram. And from Boyd County, Pete Fraley. And now the roster for the Kentucky All-Star. At 6'5", headed to Virginia Tech from Louisville Butler, number 12, Raphael White. At 5'8", going to Georgetown in Kentucky from Barrett County, number 11, Abby Varney. Standing 5'5", on her way to Penn State from Russell, number 10, Jalen Steele. Standing 6'2", and headed to UNC Wilmington from Louisville Sacred Heart, number 9, Angelina Paleo. Standing 6'1", and going to Jacksonville from Louisville Butler, number 8, Mariah Knight. Standing 6'2", on her way to Ohio to play in Rio Grande from Boyd County, number 7, Jasmine Jordan. Standing 5'9", and headed to West Georgia from Louisville Central, number 6, Destiny Jones. At 5'6", going to Thomas More from Mercer County, number 5, Anna Drakeford. Standing 6'2", on her way to Central Michigan from Lexington, Frederick Douglass, number 4, Ayana Darrington. Standing 5'10", and headed to the University of Louisville from Sacred Heart, number 2, Reagan Bender. And at 5'7", going to Southern Mississippi to play for the Lady Eagles from Pikeville, the 2024 Miss Basketball for the state of Kentucky, number 1, Trinity Rowe. The Kentucky All-Stars. And now, let's welcome to the court your Indiana All-Stars. Please welcome Indiana All-Star Director Mike Brunton. Indiana All-Star Team Coordinator Sabrina Davis-Williams. Steve Cox and George Grubbs. Dr. Kathy Reese and our All-Star trainers, Paul Herman and Patrick Miller. The head coach of the Indiana All-Stars from Scienceville, Andy McGuire. Assistant coaches from Greensburg, Jason Simpson. And from Fishers High School, Lauren Mota. And now, tonight's roster for your Indiana All-Stars. Standing 6'2", and going to DePaul to play for the Blue Demons from Mount Vernon, Ellery Mayer. Standing 6'4" and headed to IU to become a Hoosier from Indian Creek, number 12, Faith Wiseman. Standing 6'3", on the way to Villanova to play for the Wildcats from Center Grove, number 11, Rachel Words. At 6 foot and headed to Michigan State to play for the Spartans from Jennings County, number 10, Julian Winter. Standing 5'7" and currently undecided on her college choice from Penn, wearing number 9, Lauren Wall. Standing 5'7" and headed to Vermont to play for the Catamounts from Zionsville, number 8, Emma Hahn. Standing 5'9" and on her way to the Mid-American Conference to play for the Broncos of Western Michigan from Carroll, number 7, Allie Harder. Standing 5'9" and headed to West Point to represent our nation and play for the Army from Center Grove, number 6, Andre Ande. At 5'8" and headed to Mercer to become a Bear from Fishers, number 5, Talia Harris. Standing 5'9" and on her way to Evansville to become a Purple Ace from Hamilton Heights, number 4, Cameron Runner. At 5'7", and she will be a Cyclone at Iowa State from Noblesville, the Millers, number 3, Reagan Wilson. Standing 5'7" and headed to West Lafayette to play for Purdue from Fort Wayne Snyder, number 2, Jordan Poole. And standing 5'10" on her way to play for the Alabama Crimson Tide from Bedford North Lawrence, your 2024 Miss Basketball for the state of Indiana, number 1, Chloe Spree. And now to commemorate this historical game.
Great job by Chad Nickum. If you're not fired up for that, you need to check your pulse. That is so awesome. And of course, Chad, for those of you watching outside of Indiana, he handles so many of the state championships from PA standpoint. We see Chad at the Hall of Fame Classic in Newcastle every year. Again, just sets the tone as to how big of an event this is.
Chad is absolutely the real deal. And what you hear on the PA is who he is in person, dude. Great dude.
Let's meet our officials for this evening's contest. They are brought to us by Andrew Prince Realty. Whether it's buying, selling, or renting, even investing when it comes to real estate, Andrew Prince with Century 21 Sheets is here to help. Call 317-883-7575 or online at princerealtyindy.com. Kenya Jones, Maya Smith, David Talbot, our three-person officiating crew for tonight's contest. Jan, final thoughts before this one goes live.
Well, these All-Star games, Craig, are a little more of a marathon than they are a sprint. At the end of the day, you want to get off to a good start, set the defensive tone early, make that shot hard. But listen, as you well know, all these girls out here can score. So it's very difficult to double and do those types of things because everybody is here for a reason. They're all pretty good.
Game ball being presented for tonight's contest. Again, thanks to Pacer Sports Entertainment for their support and, frankly, having us here and being a part of these festivities tonight. Again, Indiana is looking for the sweep. The all-time record after last night's win, Indiana 54-41. They have the all-time advantage, but Jan, it's been very evenly played over the last several years.
Yeah, it really has, and a lot of these games look like they're going to take off and go one direction. When it's talking about being a little more of a marathon, you've got, and here's the other thing, these coaches do a really good job of spacing out and giving playing time because this is an all-star event. But when it's all said and done, these coaches want to win, and so this being the last game, those players playing the best might get a little more playing time today.
Jeff Allen amongst those being recognized, who was the previous girls basketball all-star coach, retired after a great run at Bedford North Lawrence. his Stars in the state championship last year. Faith Wiseman jumps at center for Indiana. She's going to play at Indiana University. Angelina Paleo has the honors for Kentucky. She is off to play at UNC Wilmington. Indiana in the all-white uniforms. Kentucky in the visiting blue. We are playing college rules for 10-minute quarters. 5 fouls, 4 timeouts. You can advance the basketball on a late timeout if you so choose. Talia Harris from Fishers to the player she played against in last year's state championship, Chloe Spreen. Harris, the leave for Spreen. Shot clock is at 4. Spreen has to go at 2, at 1. Shot on time, and yes, off target, but Wiseman will track it down. Then Woodard stepped on the sideline. Turnover committed by Indiana.
Yeah, one of the stats really for both teams that stuck out. Both teams turned the ball over quite a bit last night. Let's see if they can settle down a little more in this game.
That is simply the nature of all-star basketball, I think, to some degree. For Indiana, this is their 3rd game in 4 days. The seniors were beaten by the juniors by 3 in Kokomo after having a 20-point lead in the opening quarter. Woodard able to keep a pivot foot planted. She's off to Michigan State. Spreen, who is heading to Alabama. Turnaround shot and score for Chloe Spreen.
Yeah, and that's what she does so well. What I like about her, among so many things, she can really make and create in the lane.
Spreen over 20 points a game, this year's Bedford North Lawrence team. Beaten in the regional round of the tournament after winning the state championship last year. Back-to-back years in which the Stars have had players on the all-star team. Her teammate Carson Norman, now at Butler for Austin Parkinson, represented BNL in last year's all-star get-together. Indiana 90-79 winners last night. The game's in Lexington, played at Lexington Catholic High School. Good closeout by Woodard. Woodard knocks the ball away. Shot clock is at 6. Kentucky has to go quick. Great double by Spreen. And shot blocked. That's going to be a shot clock violation because of Woodard's defense. And again, we saw Woodard on ISC for the first time last year as a junior in the All-Star Series. I've been impressed by her every time I've watched her play.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's where, if you can get a quick double, that's where the shot clock becomes a defender as well, because now you force very little time because of your hustle.
And obviously this is a great transition for these players to get more accustomed to playing with the shot clock. Happens on the AAU circuit, but another reminder, Wilson headed to Iowa State. She's played in this building as part of the state finals. Woodard, I think, stepped to the baseline and got away with it. She'll take it. She'll get fouled on an and-one opportunity for Team Indiana.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Woodard just continues to play really well. I love her length, love her aggression at the rim, and she really has this knack of finishing at the rim.
She had 3 steals last night, 6 rebounds to go at 23 points, and connects from the free throw line. So 5-0 Indiana lead, 2 minutes in. Again, no Trinity Rose. She's here in uniform for Kentucky, but she is out due to injury. So 10 players tonight for Kentucky. Deep 3 is good. Reagan Bender. Again, she's going to play for a great program at Louisville. Going to stay in her hometown. She's from Sacred Heart High School. Kentucky on the board. Bender last night with 12 points, made a couple of 3-point baskets. Wiseman, no. And Wiseman from Indian Creek. Jump ball is called. The arrow will keep it to Kentucky. Last night, Kentucky 3 of 13 from 3-point range. Indiana 12 of 28. Jan, it's always a big adjustment when you come to this big building and play in it. And last night at a high school gymnasium. Previous years, we've been to events at the Sports Center in Owensboro and Knights Hall at Bellarmine. Another 3, and you know, that adjustment to the bigger building, clearly not a factor for Reagan Bender.
Hey, you make 1, now your comfort zone kicks in, hit 2.
Spreen, little contact there, we play through. Rebound corralled by Paleo for Kentucky.
Well, I think Kentucky understands what's at stake here. They're going to be aggressive.
If Bender doesn't get a touch on this possession, something has gone wrong for Kentucky after she's made her last 2 3-point field goals. Already, Emma Hahn set to check in for Indiana. On the drive, shot left short, but rebounded and scored by Shaylin Steele. And she's going to head to Penn State.
I talked about the rebounding in the opening. That was one thing that Kentucky really had a great stat on. Right now, they're being a little more aggressive on the boards, Greg.
Pair of early substitutions for Indiana. Rachel Wirtz, one of 2 Center Grove Trojans playing in this game. And then Emma Hahn getting to play for her high school head coach, Andy McGuire, one more time. Emma is going to head to Vermont, who has had a slew of Indiana players on both the boys and girls side. That Vermont team made the semifinals of the women's NIT this year, including winning at Purdue in the quarterfinal round. Shot clock is at 5. You hear the bench counting it down. Hahn has to let her rip and missed everything, even though the rebound was controlled by Wirtz. That did not hit the rim. Shot clock violation against Indiana.
Kentucky really pressured Indiana way outside the arc, and there's the other piece with the shot clock. If you keep the offense really extended and you put them in a bad situation deep in that clock.
Abby Varney checks in for Kentucky. She's going to play for Georgetown of Kentucky, which we saw on the ISC Sports Network back in December. They were a top 20 team in NAIA women's basketball this past year. They played at Marion in mid-December, did the Tigers. Good find. A little too strong. Last touch by Kentucky off the hands of Reagan Bender. And boys game will follow this one at 7:30. Second year we've been back in the building. Of course, there were no games in 2020, and then 2021 and 22, because of the renovations, really kind of spanned 3 years here at Gamebridge. We played the games at Southport Fieldhouse here locally. Wilson will pull from 16. That is short. And the rebound corralled by Kentucky and a foul. Destiny Jones had the loose ball for Kentucky. And again, the women's college rules and the now National Federation of High School rules are almost identical. 5 fouls, 2-shot bonus, what we're playing with in this game. Only difference is, again, the advancing of the ball is the difference.
Guys, we talking about Reagan Bender. I was reading about her from Sacred Heart. She won multiple state championships in her high school career at Sacred Heart.
All poked away. A Catholic school power, Sacred Heart in Louisville. Hahn turns it down. And then Woodard's pass tipped, and Wilson wisely lets that one trickle by. That's one of the differences between the two states. A lot of the Catholic high schools are not co-ed in Kentucky, kind of like in Cincinnati. Here, all of them are at this point in the state of Indiana.
Well, the other amazing thing when you talk about Kentucky high school basketball is how many years you can play high school basketball. That's a unique stat.
As a junior high player, you can play at the high school ranks. Woodard just bully ball, just grab it and power her way up, and Julianne Woodard will shoot 2. We will have ourselves a media timeout. We'll keep it right here with 4:48 to go here in the opening quarter. And we'll let you know about our friends at the Milan Museum. Jan, have you visited the Milan Museum yet?
I have not.
I'm a road trip down there with you. The
Okay.
Milan 54 Hoosiers Museum houses artifacts and memorabilia of the Milan-Muncie Central 1954 championship game and is also the largest single collection of items from the movie Hoosiers. The museum captures the 1954 excitement and serves as a place of inspiration and motivation for anyone in search of their own personal dreams and goals. Museum is at 201 West Carr Street in Milan, open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 until 4. For more information, visit milan54.org. Jan and I was honored to serve as the master of ceremonies for the 70th anniversary of the Milan 54 state championship team back in March. I love the fact over 1,000 people showed up to celebrate that team, and that so many of the players are still with us. Best known, Bobby Plump, but
Sure.
Ray Kraft, Roger Schroeder, Rollin Cutter, etc. It is quite the special place, and if you've never been, it's worth your trip to Southern Ripley County.
That had to be incredibly honorable for you to be able to get to be a piece of that. That is a true piece of Indiana history right there.
All right, quick thoughts on what we've seen so far. Again, field goal percentage. Indiana struggled from the field so far. They've made just 2 field goals. They're 2 of 10. Kentucky, 3 of 7. Overall impressions, what you've seen so far in this one, Jim?
Well, it's still really early, but I think Kentucky's playing with just a little more sense of urgency right now than Indiana is. Shot selection's been a little rough from Indiana as well, but still a lot of game to be played. But certainly Kentucky off to a little bit better start.
And let's face it, whoever team loses on Friday is so much more motivated on Saturday. They do not want to be the team in their senior year that got swept by the group from the other state.
Yeah, no question about it. We've seen that last year where Indiana struggled down at Kentucky and both came back here to Gamebridge and win. So there's certainly some dynamics. I want to go back to that junior high playing in high school. Both of Mr. and Miss Basketball Travis Perry and Trinity Rowe have played since 7th grade as their high school. Now that would be pretty cool, Greg.
There's no red shirts involved there. You're allowed to play as a middle schooler.
You are.
So Woodard makes them both. She has 5 of the Indiana 7 so far. Allie Harness will check in at the next dead ball for Indiana. Cameron Runner will do the same. Indiana will go smaller and quicker at the guard spots. And yep, hot on the closeout. Bump the shooter in Varney for Kentucky. Varney, who averaged 18 points a game at Barron County High School, will shoot 2. Varney last night played 7 minutes, scored 2 points on 1 field goal. And again, I think the charge from both Mike Broughton, the Indiana director, and Scott Chalk, the Kentucky director, everybody needs to play. But after they've kind of played a couple of minutes, maybe in both halves, you put your best 5 out there. And again, this is an all-star game, but it's not played like many all-star games.
And more so on Saturday night than Friday night. But on Saturday night, the better player is going to play, so your opportunity to play has a lot on how you are playing.
So Harness in the game. She wears those glasses. She's going to play at Western Michigan from Carroll of Flora in the 2A ranks. Cameron Runner going to play at Evansville. Woodard off 1 foot, not that time. And the rebound corralled by Ramaya White, who is 6'5", going to head to play at Vatech. And Woodard knew she had to get around her. She lets her catch that ball. That's no bueno for Indiana. Tie up, and the arrow points the way of Team Indiana.
It got really physical last night. A combined 65 free throws in last night's game. That's a bunch.
That is somewhat typical, frankly, for this game. And the teams get after it. We saw Indiana win the buzzer beater down in Owensboro a couple of years ago. Kentucky swept the 2 games at the Sports Center last year. Again, split last night in Lexington. Indiana girls won by 11. Kentucky boys won handily. Woodard from 16, no. Job by Wirtz to track that down. Woodard this time steps into it, couldn't get it to go.
Got the shot they wanted, good cut, just didn't fall.
A 3-point lead for Kentucky, looking to make it 5, and it's going to be a foul. And 2 free throws coming up for Shaylin Steele. Steele averaged 21 points a game this year for Russell High School. And again, she'll play in the Big Ten at Penn State.
Well, right now, Kentucky is getting much deeper in towards the rim than Indiana is. For the most part, Indiana is getting deep in that shot clock to get their shots off.
You mentioned free throws. Well, Shaylin went 12 of 15 from the line last night.
She did.
And scoring her 25 points. Woodard left alone, got fouled, and she'll shoot 2. And I know in being around the Indiana practices, they felt that when White was in the game, even with her size, they would have the athleticism advantage in terms of finding open shots, and Woodard with plenty of space to roam in that Kentucky defensive alignment.
Forhite's back in for Indiana's Faith Wiseman from Indiana Creek comes back into the lineup.
6'4", going to play for Terry Morin down in Bloomington. Maya Makaleski on the Junior All-Stars at 6'3" is heading to play at IU a year from now.
Yeah, we got to see Faith Wiseman at the Hall of Fame Classic. She really has had a great career.
That is correct.
Whoa, hello.
And offensive foul. So Wiseman draws the offensive foul on Ramaya White.
Well, she's not afraid to put some contact, because trust me, she's been physical a lot underneath, so she's certainly not afraid to extend a little bit of physicality.
Welcome to the Big Ten.
That's right.
Every team has a player that's about that size. Get used to it.
Yeah, and that's a great point, and this mimics a lot of that, whereas, you know, in your high school team, you get 1 or 2 really, really good players. You got 10 who can just flat out play out there right now.
Indiana looking to tie or take the lead. Shot clock at 13. Harness, the drive and dish. Ball's got to go up. Woodard obliges. Couldn't finish. And Runner going to be called for the foul. Fourth foul in Indiana. No free throws on that. Next foul either direction is a 2-shot foul. Defender stumbled, might have been nudged. Second opportunity by Steele, she was fouled. And I get a feeling, Jan, that last night's free throw numbers are about to be equaled. We've had a lot of them so far.
Yeah, we really have. This game has really started out on a very, very slow tempo. We're going deep in the shot clock, and a lot of the fouls have been called early. I'm with you.
Ellery Minch in for Team Indiana. She is from Mount Vernon of Fortville. She's going to play at DePaul. As Steele connects, she's 2 of 3 from the line. Woodard gets a breather. Shot missed. And Wiseman the rebound. And a lot of size on this Indiana squad. Ellery at 6'2". Harris will check back in for Indiana. Wilson going to do the same.
Well, you think about how much time these teams, Greg, have to play together and what you need to be able to put in to resemble some type of offensive flow.
Harness's long three does not go. It opens up the floor and Steele. And a timeout going to be taken, a 30-second timeout going to be taken by Indiana. So Steele now with 6 to tie Bender for game high for Kentucky, and Kentucky's lead is now 5. Today's game presented in part by the Indy 11. It's the best time of year to see the Indy 11 in action, whether it's the men at Carroll Stadium or the women at Grand Park. The women won a thriller last night versus Racing Louisville 3-2. They'll take on Kings Hammer coming up Wednesday night at 7 o'clock at the Grand Park Indoor Event Center. The men are at home next Saturday, Battle San Antonio on June 15th. Get your tickets now, indy11.com/tickets.
Well, right now, quite honestly, Kentucky's just doing a little bit better job of getting the ball to the rim while the lead is still only 5. It feels a little bit more than 5, but it's only 5, and it's just because it's a slower paced game, and 5 seems like a lot considering the pace.
Here's Harris. Harris is off to play at Mercer. Older sister Ty plays in WNBA. She played at Heritage Christian while Talia played at Fishers. Ball poked away. Vallejo will track it down. The lead pass, but Wiseman walls off the Kentucky player and eventually leads to a turnover. So teams exchanging turnovers, and now on the possession arrow, it'll maintain possession for Kentucky. 3 Indiana turnovers, 4 at this juncture for the team from the Bluegrass State. And Woodard's absence was brief. Now Spreen will have a seat. We have not seen Jordan Poole just yet. I would think that would change at some point soon for Indiana. She was a big part of Wednesday's game against the juniors, and she's going to play for Katie Gerald's at Purdue. Bender already has made 2. Didn't make that one, but inside position for Kentucky. Fight for the loose ball, and Woodard rarely loses that battle for a loose ball. Little pressure picked up here by Kentucky. Woodard diving for it, but eventually Minch wrestles it right back.
Pace starting to pick up a little more now.
Good inside out Wiseman from the elbow. Couldn't make it, but Harris will track it down. Wilson thought about a 3. She's taken one already.
She thought really hard. She can hit that from out there.
She won a state title as a sophomore in this building 2 years ago. She'll do more than think about it, but she misses that one. And Indiana's struggles continue from the field, but their defense is keeping them in it.
Yeah, Wilson got a little bit of hand on that.
This time from the lane, Reagan Wilson got it to go.
There you go.
Just the 3rd made field goal by Indiana. They're 3 of 18 from the floor to start the game. Because the shot clock was running down. Steele forces one from 3. 3rd made 3 by Kentucky, and they have a 6-point lead. We'll take this quick timeout. We'll come back to Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Kentucky trying to get the weekend split. They lead by 6 on ISC.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups or the whole family. Tickets available at indy11.com. Indy 11, World's Game, Indiana's team.
What's in a name? What's in a name? Ed Martin Automotive Group, the only name you need to know.
At Forum Credit Union, our small business professionals work with local companies to help them prosper. We know that running a small business is more than a full-time job, and our services give you the guidance and support your business needs. Visit forumcu.com to see how.
Pretty easy to break it down as Freddie Fever enlightening the crowd here at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. Of course, the Fever will be here. They already have been frequently. They played 11 games in their first 20 days. One last night in Washington. Fever, I think next play Monday against the Connecticut Sun at 7 o'clock. Greg Rakestraw, Jan Bozier with you here on the ISC Sports Network. And for Indiana, it's real simple. Start making shots. You're 3 of 18 from the floor.
Yeah, 16%. That's not helping your cause for sure. And that being said, they're only down by 6, and they have not made a three-pointer, and that was a shot that was pretty good to them last night.
Wilson, Woodard, Spreen. Adriane just lost the handle. In from Center Grove High School. Rachel Wirtz, her high school teammate, with her as well. Spot-up shot is good. That is a two-point basket. That's Mariah Knight that got that to go. Woodard, 3, no. It's one and done that time for Team Indiana. Chance to make it a double-digit lead. Great fine shot missed. But on the rebound, Destiny Jones will get a couple of free throws.
Well, Kentucky continues to play very well, allowing so few shots, and shots are really difficult to come by for Indiana. And Greg, this lead is now 8 and looks to go double digits if a couple free throws are made.
This one is good for Jones. Joan averaged nearly 24 points a game. She played at Central High School in the heart of Louisville. She's going to head to West Georgia, Division II level next year. And got the shot to go. There is that double-digit lead. And Indiana's offense, fortunately, has been just brick city so far.
Greg, it really has. They got to get some more movement. Just not enough movement to force Kentucky's defense to have to make any type of switches. Just a lot of dribbling and just shots from outside.
Spreen will pull and rejected.
That's a good no call.
Met there at the rim. That was Mariah Knight that took it away. Knight will pull. That does not go. And Reagan Wilson will corral the loose ball. See if Indiana gets something going in transition here. Good recovery by Kentucky. Angelina Palaio knocked that ball away. She and Reagan Bender, teammates at Sacred Heart High School. They can both play at the Division I level. Bender going to U of L. Palaio going to be a Seahawk at UNC Wilmington. And Ane throws it away.
My.
The step through. No rebound there for Indiana. I think it's going to be a foul, not a jump ball. I think Wilson got there late. And she'll draw the whistle, and it is a very quiet crowd. They've had nothing to get in the game so far from the Indiana perspective.
Yeah, once again, Indiana's offense just a little stagnant right now. Just not a lot of movement. They're not getting to the free throw line. Just have really got to pick up the pace here.
And it is going to be a 2-shot foul for Destiny Jones. She already has made 2 free throws, and chance to add to that here. It's a bit of a staggered start here for Indiana. Jones the miss from the line. Harness has her pocket picked. Knight, the step through with the left hand, could not finish. And Spreen wrestles it away.
Yeah, that's a good rebound by Spreen. Let's see if she can get Indiana going here.
Spreen fouled by Shaylin Steele. 2 fouls on Harness for Indiana. It's going to be the second foul on Steele, and I think she is going to quickly exit. Bender will check back in now for Kentucky. Bender had the early threes to kind of get Kentucky on track. Indiana scored the first 5 points. They've scored 6 points since. And Spreen draws contact.
Yeah, you like that. That's what she'll do at the next level. You get near that block, Greg, that's where she can be, and it has been effective. And now we're finally getting to the free throw line. Take a look here at the replay. Used her body really well to get some space and forces the official to make that call with the contact.
Spreen misses. She's the first player other than Woodard to shoot free throws for Indiana. Got that to go. And she had already been down in Tuscaloosa and returned back to be a part of the festivities this week. And almost all these players will head out tomorrow to their respective campuses.
Yeah.
The double by Spreen, great read by Woodard. She's got Ane in front. Ane races back and is fouled, and Audrey Ane will shoot two.
Well, Woodard starts that off by a really nice hustle play, got the steal. You know, you talked about these young ladies getting ready to go to the college. I really respect the fact that they take time to play in this. You don't have to, some can't for whatever reason, but man, this is an honor and a privilege, and I really respect when people decide to make the effort. And a lot of them have to get flights and all kinds of things because a lot of them are playing AAU or whatever the case may be as far as getting prepared. But, man, it's just something you look back and go, man, I'm glad I really got to play on these all-star teams.
And for Ane, this is a breeze. She's got basic training coming up. She's heading to West Point. She's going to play at Army. And Army has been heavily recruiting this state in basketball for a long time. Bender finds a teammate. That's a two again. 2-point field goal for Jasmine Jordan of Boyd County. She's going to play at Rio Grande. Again, a team that we see on ISC because of being in the River States Conference and playing Marion in a lot of sports. We saw their softball team in the NAIA Regional last month. And again, just to point out, the high school line and the college line are both being shown on this court. So you have to be behind. Oftentimes we lament in the high school state finals, hey, you don't have to be behind both lines. Tonight you do. You got to be behind that second line.
Right.
Shot rejected as Harness drove in.
And those three-point shooters going to have to adapt to that.
Lauren Walsh of Penn is in the contest. Shot clock at 3. Spreen fouled. And frankly, both teams' best offense right now has been getting to the free throw line.
Well, defense is some of that. Lack of movement. Listen, this is a long 2 days for these players too, Greg. You look at the trip to Kentucky, back from Kentucky, and then here, and that's kind of what college life is sometimes. So that's the other piece you have to adapt to.
Spreen rattles it home. Ayana Sarai Darrington in for Kentucky. She attended Lexington Frederick Douglass High School. She is going to play at Central Michigan. Spreen makes them both. And so far for Indiana, 10 of their 16 points have come from the free throw line. Just 3 made field goals. Indiana 3 of 21 from the floor. Harness with the steal and could not get it. Indiana trying to pick up the defensive intensity, leads to a turnover.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Defensive intensity certainly was, especially on that exterior. Guards really, I thought, picked it up a little bit and got themselves a turnover to see if now get some offense off the defense.
5-out offense here for Indiana. And Harness can shoot from that distance. She also has 6'2" guarding her currently. So, go down low. Wirtz couldn't fire it up. Woodard has no problem letting it fly. That does not go. And last night, Woodard was 4 of 9 from 2, 3 of 8 from 3, and she, like everybody else, struggling to find the rhythm so far in this one.
Right, you just kind of wonder who's that player going to be from Indiana that lights the spark. Man, they are just flat, for lack of better words.
Good feed. Outstanding work. Jasmine Jordan with a mismatch. Puts it up and in. Going to a Rio program that has had some recent success in terms of NAIA basketball. You see a couple of small college talents for Kentucky. You'll see more of that on the boys' side for Indiana this year than in most years. A couple of players going the Division II route, one going the Division III route. NAIA talent as per usual. Walsh the drive, left-handed layup is good.
Indiana just needs to keep this thing within striking distance, kind of regroup here. Finish strong with this next 5 minutes, Greg.
Walsh made her one field goal, a 3 last night. She played under 5 minutes at the former Penn Kingsman. And there's a foul. Woodard on the help side. Jasmine Jordan will shoot 2 free throws. But first we'll have a media timeout. So media timeout. Let's thank our friends at the Ed Martin Automotive Group. I want to congratulate Talia Harris of Fishers, Reagan Wilson of Noblesville for representing those two communities in tonight's Indiana-Kentucky All-Star Classic. Ed Martin has locations in Fishers and Noblesville. No, yes, Indianapolis and Anderson too. And they're always available online at edmartin.com. Remember, when it comes to your next car, Ed Martin is the only name you need to know.
Well, clearly both teams are on fire. Kentucky still has this lead at 26-18. Both teams kind of a little flat. You can see legs maybe a little tired, still within striking distance, but defense is going to get you back in this one because shooting may take a while.
In scoring so far in this contest, Shaylin Steele with 9 leads all scorers. Reagan Bender 6 for Kentucky. Julianne Woodard has 7. Chloe Spreen has 5 for Indiana. Again, the boys' game will take place at 7:30 tonight. Jam and I will have that one for you. Same place you're finding this one on iscsportsnetwork.com. Want to thank our great ISC crew on tonight's broadcast. Vince Morales, who I'm pretty sure has been here since like yesterday, making sure everything works properly. Brian Pierce, Daryl Tibbs, Nick Rice, Rob Lynch, Richard Feely, and Eldon Wheeler. And if Reagan Wilson scores, you might see a camera start to bubble. That's Rob pumping his fist as an Iowa State alum, cheering on Wilson, who's a soon-to-be Iowa State Cyclone.
Well, you know, there's a few of us here who have a little bit of hope for Miss Wilson.
And Jan shares the high school alma mater.
That's right.
Of Reagan Wilson.
I don't try to brag too much. Listen, I don't say, you talk about Lanesville now and then, right?
You don't think during those intros I was thinking about Hadley Crozier being introduced next year as Lanesville's first All-Star?
I know it thought crossed your mind.
I made the mental note. Tell Chad, first All-Star ever, if she's a junior All-Star, if she gets the nod as a senior.
Yeah, Reagan, what a great career she's had at Nobles. Hey, another Miller, pretty good on that junior ball club.
Meredith Tipner was fantastic.
Yeah.
So 1 for 2 was Jordan.
Love to hear that. Keep him coming, folks.
Kentucky's lead has been double digits. It's now 9. Emma Hahn back in there from Zionsville. Ball taken away. And on the layup, just not getting the steps right, was Anna Drakeford. And Spreen had it and then was fouled. So Darrington commits the foul. And that is already team foul number 5, so 2 shots for Chloe Spreen. And again, partner, this is exactly how Kentucky can get back, or Indiana can get back in the game.
Yeah, that's exactly what you have to do, regardless All-Star or regular season. If you're not shooting the ball well, you start it on the defensive side and get aggressive.
Spreen was 6.
Interesting. I've really heard how she decided on Alabama.
She's got 7.
Good program.
Outstanding program. Spreen just couldn't get there in time. Had it in her sights. Bender forced the issue and drew contact. And frankly, both teams have realized our best chance of scoring is by getting to the line. So Mariah Knight will check into the contest. For Spreen, that's her second foul. And Bender connects. She had 2 threes early. Bender last night went 3 of 6 in the line. Went 4 of 5 from the floor. She played 32 minutes. Right for the loose ball, and Woodard had it, lost it, touched it last, out of bounds to Kentucky. Reagan Wilson will check back in. Spreen will sit with 2 fouls. Let's see if she might be done for the half with those 2 fouls. Andy McGuire, the head coach, Jason Simpson, Lauren Vota of Greensburg and Fishers, respectively, the assistant coaches. Knight fires a 3. That does not go. Everybody kind of waited for somebody else to grab the rebound. Palaio tracks it down. And no miss basketball. Trinity Rowe out for Kentucky due to injury. She played 30-plus minutes last night, but will not play this evening. And she is here in attendance, but will not play. Shot clock at 4. Woodard, the save, but that sets a reset the shot clock and leads to a scramble, and Jordan with 7.
All that, Kentucky ends up with a layup. That's kind of the way this first half has been. Now a double-digit lead for Kentucky.
Jordan last night, 4 points in 13 minutes. She has taken advantage of a greater opportunity here. Wilson pulls from the elbow, and you're not going to get many better looks than that. I mean, everybody had rotated forward for Indiana. Bender will lay it up and in, and it is a 12-point game. And a timeout taken by Indiana. This 30-second timeout presented by our good friends at the Lee Company. Lee Company is Indiana's largest school equipment supplier. From bleachers to lockers, chairs to cafe tables, basketball goals to wall pads, Lee Company is your source. Contact Sean Doherty in Northwest Indiana for all your school needs at 765-586-9706. And one thing that is a bit of an adjustment for the high school coaches, used to having 5 timeouts. So, for example, that's the second timeout Indiana's taken. They have 2 timeouts now, Chan, for the rest of the game.
Coach McGuire's, it's not because he had tried all kinds of different combinations, because he has. Just as a team, they have never really been able to get going here. Kind of wait for who's that player going to step up and give these ladies a spark to get something going. Now down 12, that lead just continues to increase for the Kentucky ladies.
So Harris, Wilson, Woodard, Walsh, and Wiseman. Walsh, good find, finds Wiseman. Wiseman got it to go.
Good intro pass. Wiseman really needs to start being active and get that ball. She can do some damage down low, Greg.
Just the 5th Indiana field goal. They are 5 of 25 from the floor. Woodard poked it away, then tied up. Arrow will keep it here, but you just feel some life from the Indiana bench for the first time.
Well, I think that was talked about that timeout. Listen, it starts quite honestly over that bench. We've got to get some enthusiasm back on this side and get some stuff going.
Palaio, too strong. Wilson just outsized and couldn't keep her away. Palaio gets her first field goal. Indiana going with a bit of a smaller lineup here. Trying to find some combination that works. Harris fouled, and again, that's 2 free throws. Harris to shoot 2. Harris last night, 8 points in 16 minutes played, and left that short. And Harris, a part of last year's state runners-up to Bedford North Lawrence. Harris connects for her first point.
I think it's fair to say that Kentucky has accomplished at least half of what they set out to do tonight, was come out, get this lead, play with the lead, and make it difficult for Indiana. And so at least for the first half, mission accomplished.
Screens back out there with 2 fouls for Indiana. To the corner, Wilson ran off of it, but Walsh waiting, top of the key. Could not finish. Wiseman keeps it alive. Wilson got bumped into by her own teammate. It's been that kind of night so far for Indiana. Three in the corner. That's Varney off the side of the backboard. Spreen able to fight Bender away from it, but now, once they break the pressure, now Indiana's got numbers.
I really like the way Wiseman got aggressive on that checkout here. That's what Indiana's going to have to do, play that physical.
Wilson fires and misses, and Indiana is yet to make a three-point try in this game.
Yeah, they literally cannot buy a three right now. Something they shot so well last night has flat out went away.
12 of 28 a night ago. Ball poked away again. Indiana's defense has been solid, just unable to buy anything offensively. Harris can't finish the layup. And a timeout going to be taken by Kentucky. Another 30-second timeout. This 30-second timeout brought to us by Coca-Cola of Kokomo. Proud to congratulate Allie Harness of Carroll High School of Florida. Coca-Cola of Kokomo has been serving North Central Indiana since 1907 and proud to serve as the official hydration partner of 26 schools across the region, including Carroll High School. Find out more at cckokomo.com.
But you're right. I think Indiana's defense has not really been that bad. Kentucky only has 34. It's clearly been on this offensive side. They've tried different combinations. They've not been able to hit the three. Really haven't been to the free throw line all that much either. So a couple of things got to change. You either got to get to the free throw line or you got to start hitting some of those threes.
First timeout taken by Kentucky. Busy night for us on the ISC Sports Network. We're producing Indianapolis Alley Cats Ultimate Frisbee at Grand Park. Kokomo Vipers soccer up at Kokomo, and Indianapolis Indians baseball over at Victory Field. Just your average day in June for the ISC Sports Network crew.
That's a pretty solid average.
You'll blink and football season will be here in about 10 weeks.
That is for sure.
Jan and I were discussing schedules before the broadcast.
Yes, we were.
Final 30 seconds of the half. White. Wiseman walls her up. Second opportunity does not go. Varney, the weak side glass, jump ball, and Indiana will have possession.
Listen, that was pretty good defense that time. They doubled her up as soon as she got the ball, got some backside help, and really forced that possession to go away. That defense was really good that time by Indiana.
Harris pulls and is fouled. And frankly, if Indiana's not getting to the free throw line, they're sitting on about 10 points right now.
Yeah, that one's hard to answer, Greg. You see that sometimes in these all-star games, and the fact that how many games they've played this week now, and then clearly the back-to-back with some travel, and they've extended tons of energy. But that being said, 18, 17, 16, you're supposed to have endless energy, right?
A couple things I'll point out. Harris shoots the free throw. A, I love Owensboro because it's my neck of the woods. It's farther away than Lexington is. B, they're not traveling on a school bus down there.
That's true, too.
And C, well, you said is spot on. They're all 18 years old. It is their third game in 4 nights.
Listen,
playing Wednesday against the juniors.
I can remember my son playing the AAU circuit. There would be times when you get these pools, you'd play 4 and 5 games in a day.
Ball poked away by Walsh. And get it in time? No. Ball hits the sidelines. Now just half a second remaining. So it does appear Indiana's at least going to pull this back to single digits. before halftime.
That was kind of my point earlier. If you could just kind of hold serve here, keep it within 10 and kind of regroup at halftime.
Wide a touch, and that will be that. It's been an offensive struggle for both, but especially for Team Indiana. They are shooting 17% from the floor. Our score at the break is Kentucky 34, Indiana 25. The girls of the Bluegrass trying to get the weekend split as you're watching on the ISC Sports Network.
At Forum Credit Union, we know strong communities invest in education. That's why the Forum Foundation has given over $800,000 to local educators and students pursuing their collegiate dreams. Learn how Forum gives back at forumcu.com.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups or the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, world's game, Indiana's team.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
It's Dino Night with Indy 11.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups or the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, world's game, Indiana's team.
At Forum Credit Union, we provide smart ways to borrow money for life's planned and unplanned expenses. We also have fun, easy ways to save money. See how Forum can help you with your financial goals at forumcu.com.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups or the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, world's game, Indiana's team.
At halftime, Kentucky leads Indiana by a score of 34-25 in the front half of this girls and boys doubleheader on the ISC Sports Network. Tonight's game presented in part by the Pierce Automotive Tennis Club. Pierce Automotive Tennis Club congratulates Emma Hahn of Zionsville for playing in today's Indiana-Kentucky All-Star Classic. Pierce Automotive Tennis Club is Indiana's premier indoor tennis facility located in Zionsville. They've got 8 indoor courts, allow you to play, learn, and stay in shape, rain or shine. Look at PearsonTennis.com or call 317-559-7100 to reserve your court time or book a lesson today. Jan, your thoughts on half number one?
Well, I'll tell you, you've been talking about it all first half. 17% shooting, not going to get it done. I think the speech here at halftime is, girls, doesn't matter if you're a little tired or not. I need 5 girls that's got an extra gear, and they've got to find it in a hurry. I think the energy level has got to produce, or Indiana's not going to be able to sweep this series.
The scoring in the first half, 7 each for Woodard and Spreen, 9 for Kentucky for Bender and Steele, 7 for Jordan. Again, Kentucky has been without Trinity Rowe. We knew that was going to be the case. Their Miss Basketball dealing with an injury. Whom we have not seen for Indiana is Jordan Poole. We're kind of working to see exactly what the explanation is there, but that is a key piece. She's going to play at Purdue. She did not play at all in the course of half number one. So if you're Andy McGuire, the obvious is, ladies, we're going to find a way to make jump shots. What else can you do to try to spring that forward if you're Indiana?
Yeah, and I think the speech is going to be, listen, you've all had tons of playing time this week. I'm going to play 5 or 7 or whatever that number is here in the second half. You show me energy. You show me the desire to win this thing. You're going to get the minutes in this final half, and that's who's going to play. I suspect that's the speech at halftime.
We'll get you other stats as the halftime rolls along as well. We'll take this quick timeout. We'll come back to Cambridge Fieldhouse. We'll have first half highlights at some point in time. We'll also preview the boys game, which is at 7:30. Kentucky has not swept Indiana since 1986. They will go for that tonight. More on that game when we come back to downtown Indianapolis. Kentucky leads Indiana the girls 34-25, and you're watching on ISC.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups or the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, world's game, Indiana's team.
Dino Night with Indy 11.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups or the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, world's game, Indiana's team.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
9-point lead at halftime. There you see some legends of Indiana high school basketball coaching. Cliff Hawkins, currently the head coach at Tipton High School. Mark Adams led Evansville Rights, the state championship game about 9 years ago. To his left, Pat McKee, who his retirement gig after coaching at Columbus North and writing for the Indianapolis Star, and a lot of media and stat work for the Indiana All-Stars. Great to see that group here enjoying all the action tonight. Believe it or not, after tonight, we take a 2-month break from basketball on the ISC Sports Network. About a long break as we take all year. Our next basketball game, the City League Championships. And so with that, let's tell you more about the City League. Tonight, the ISC Network has the privilege of showcasing the best of Indiana high school basketball with this year's crop of Indiana All-Stars. The best place to see Indiana All-Stars of the past in action is at the City League. In the months of June, July, and August, 17 former Indiana All-Stars, both men and women, will suit up in our state's premier summer basketball event. Names like Andre Owens, Bria Goss, Marcus Teague, Portia Green, Trayvon Blewett, Sharika Webb will all compete this summer at the Bonner Fitness and Learning Center on the campus of Tech High School. This Pro-Am style league tips off on Wednesday, June 26th. Championship game seen right here on Thursday, August 8th. Come on and watch Indiana high school basketball stars of yesterday at the City League. Go to cityleague.org or check out @CityLeague on social media platforms for more information. Jane, I'm looking to be involved with this league every year. The caliber of play is fantastic.
That's some serious names you just named off there.
Well, those are two WNBA players right there.
Say.
Amber Harris and, again, Bria Goss that play in the league every year. We see Amber a lot during the winter because she's part of the coaching staff at North Central. The job that Austin Taylor and company have done to put that league together. This is going to be our 5th year of broadcast that championship. We look forward to it every summer.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's a lot of fun with some big-time names.
All right, so with that, let's talk about the boys' game that will follow this one at 7:30. Again, Kentucky won handily last night. There was a technical foul called about the midway moment of the second half against Flory Badunga. And if you've been around Flory over the years, he is probably the least likely person you would ever call a technical foul on. That call has drawn the ire of basketball fans in Indiana, frankly, of the coaching staff of Indiana. And again, you get beat, you're motivated. I think it is an Indiana team that is extremely motivated to play the second game tonight.
Yeah, you look at the stats from last night's game, and the one thing that does stick out that Kentucky lived at the free throw line, and quite honestly, they were 23 of 33, where Indiana was just 9 of 13.
Let's face it, okay, this is not the strength of Indiana team we have seen in years gone by. That is known. Kentucky has a very good team. So I'm not trying to be the homer that says, well, the referees, yeah, I'm not trying to be that guy. But I know that it is a motivated group that is going to take to the floor tonight. And again, Indiana has been dominant in this series. Last year the team split. Kentucky won in Owensboro, and Indiana came back and won the game here. Indiana has not been swept in this series since 1986. Expect a heavy dose of Flory Badunga and Jack Bender tonight for Team Indiana.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think that's going to happen. They will be motivated, and I think the other thing for this Indiana men's ball club, they need some of that back 5 players to pick up their game a little bit. While they had 4 in double figures, they need a few more points out of some of those other rotations, Greg.
We'll take this quick timeout. We'll come back, first half highlights from the girls' contest, and we'll focus back in on half number 2 for the Indiana and Kentucky girls. Indiana led 5-0. Kentucky's had the lead ever since. It's been double figures. It's 9 right now. 34-25 in favor of the Bluegrass State. Back to Gainbridge Fieldhouse after this on ISC.
What's in a name? What's in a name? Ed Martin Automotive Group, the only name you need to know.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups or the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, world's game, Indiana's team.
At Forum Credit Union, we help members plan for life's major milestones. Our team of wealth advisors work with members at every stage, from changing jobs and 401ks to creating wealth plans for future generations. Learn more at forumcu.com.
It's Dino Night with Indy 11.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups or the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, world's game, Indiana's team.
As highlights roll through, let's give you scoring for half number 1 for Kentucky. Reagan Bender 9, Shaylin Steele 9, Jasmine Jordan 7. 2 for Mariah Knight, 2 for Angelina Palaio, Abby Varney with 2 as well. For Indiana, 7 for Chloe Spreen, 7 for Julianne Woodard, 3 for Talia Harris, 2 for Reagan Wilson, 2 for Adriane, 2 for Lauren Walsh, and 2 for Faith Wiseman. That's it, just 25 points for Indiana. January expectations as to what we will see here early in the half.
Well, there's so much talent on that Indiana ball club. You got to say to yourself, who is that player going to be to come out and get this team going and hit some shots, get this crowd into it? Quite honestly, the crowd's been quiet. The team's been quiet. This is a big arena. You need to get things going.
In terms of shooting for the half, Indiana 17% from the floor. On the flip side, 88% from the free throw line. Indiana did not make a 3 in the first half. Kentucky out-rebounded Indiana 24-21. Kentucky shooting numbers weren't great, but far better than Indiana. 38% from the floor, 64% from the line, 43% from 3. That translates to 3 of 7 is what that number is. Again, 8 assists for Kentucky, just 2 for Indiana. But then again, for Indiana, they really made 5 field goals in the first half. They're going to have that many assists. Turnovers, relatively even. 9 for Indiana, 10 for Kentucky.
I just thought, for the most part, Kentucky was the more aggressive, played a little more with more energy in that first half. You talked about the motivation not to be swept. Clearly, that was a motivator. That question now is for Kentucky. Will they bring that same energy in half number 2, and or can Indiana equal that? And at some point in time, they've got to find some extra points to get this thing back in where they can compete and win.
See the 5 that each coach brings on the floor here in a matter of moments. Indiana won last night's game by a score of 90-79. While we were away at halftime, congratulations to Cameron Runner of Hamilton Heights. Again, she is going to play at the University of Evansville. She was named the MCL John Wooden Sportsmanship Award winner for the series this year. Last year, Kentucky won in Owensboro, 72-62. Indiana won here, 71-67. Two closely contested, low-scoring games. Uniquely, in 21 and 22, the visiting team won both games, and that is shaping up to potentially be the case here tonight as well, Jan.
Yeah, it really is. You know, the other question I had, and I didn't look this up, I meant to look this up. You know, it's an honor for the coaches to be selected, specifically the head coach. I don't know, for the most part, you get one shot. I don't know if there's been times where you have multiple been named the head coach or not, but for the most part, you get one opportunity, and these coaches do not want to be those coaches to say, I didn't win a game being that coach.
And Andy McGuire, this is kind of a retirement send-off for him. He coached Zionsville for many years, and it's a very successful program. They played in the state championship game here 6 years ago. I'm not sure he's completely done coaching yet. He's stepped away from Zionsville, but this is a very unique opportunity for him. 9-point lead for Kentucky. It will be Kentucky's basketball to start the third quarter of play. 10 players in uniform for Kentucky. For Indiana, 13 players in uniform. Again, we have not seen Jordan Poole. Jordan had left the bench area in the second half, and the second quarter is back out there now, which is good to see, but just kind of reading body language, I'm not sure we're going to see her in the second half of tonight's game.
Well, she had 19 in last night's game. She was a lot of offense that, for whatever reason, don't know just yet, has not been able to participate. So we'll see how that goes as this half happens. But for the most part, it's good to see her back there on the court, though.
Of course, this building has served as the home of the Indiana High School Basketball State Championship games now for the last 25 years. That was not the case every year for the girls, and that was only because of the Big Ten Women's Tournament kind of being on that same date. So there were a handful of years where the high school state finals for girls were played either in Fort Wayne or Terre Haute. Obviously, this building has been the home of the Indiana Fever since day number one. But frankly, there has not been an interest level in the Fever like it is now, ever.
Oh, my.
Of course, the Fever won the championship back in 2012, and this franchise is graced to have the presence of Tamika Catchings for 16 years, as you see the banners that are on display here at Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
I was talking to the cameraman below me here who do the Gainbridge Fever, they do the Pacers, they do a lot of different things, and they said you've never seen anything like it for the Fever, the crowds that have been here.
Well, let's go to last night's game in Washington, D.C. Normally, the Mystics play their games at a 4,200-seat arena. They sold 21,000 tickets for last night. The two teams had a combined 3 wins. Gives you an idea.
Yeah, I think that pretty much says it all, right?
People seemingly care these days.
At the end of the day, that's great for women. It's great for basketball in general. Love to see it.
So back to action we go. Destiny Jones, Reagan Bender, Angelina Palaio, Anna Drakeford, Shaylin Steele. Round out the 5 on the floor for Christy Oram from Pikeville High School, the head coach. On the drive, runner, Woodard. Got a little body there, but got a lot of ball, and that was deemed to be good enough. Out of bounds with 7 on the 30 for Kentucky.
Well, we talked a lot about it at halftime. It's going to start on this defensive side. The energy's got to be produced right here.
And shot clock's going to be an issue. Jones has to go up, and Woodard just tied her up.
Oh, my.
I think Woodard is one of the few players who physically is ready for the Big Ten right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I talked about this in the opening, though. Her game has elevated here even recently as she gets ready to go to college. She is playing very well and very physical.
She can be streaky as a shooter, but rebounding, defense, steals, that translates every night.
You're exactly right. And she's really produced those.
Skip pass to Harris. Same starting 5 for Indiana. Good basket cut by
There you
Street.
go. Oh, my.
Still can't buy a bucket.
But, Greg, that's that movement I was talking about. They didn't really have that in that first half, cutting to the rim.
Spot on. Here's Bender. Fires a three. She's made two. She's made three.
The Cardinal has felt it today.
She's got 12.
Soon to be
Kentucky's lead
Cardinal.
is 12. I think you can call her a Cardinal now.
They're calling her a Cardinal now.
Nice
there you
slip
go.
to Wiseman.
See, 2 in a row. You got movement, you got people headed towards the bucket, and that's what happens.
So Wiseman gets her second basket of the game.
Veteran coach doing what they do, right?
Steal. Right idea. Traveling Cole. Back-to-back turnovers against Kentucky. 12 for the game. Jan mentioned turnovers a night ago. 19 for Kentucky, 25 for Indiana last night in Lexington. Spring the hesitation and pull.
There you go. See, and Indiana that time started with a high ball screen. That's something else we didn't see a lot of. So 2 things now have happened. High ball screens and cutting to the rim have really accentuated Indiana getting some offense going.
3 looks at the rim. That's the first 3 trips down for Indiana.
And when you're not shooting the 3, you got to do that or you have no shot.
Steal. Again, walled off by Wiseman. It'll be out of bounds to Kentucky. Jones beat Woodard to the spot and got the bucket. No, steps. A break for Indiana. There was contact there, but official said nope, pivot foot was moved first. Spreen goes right by Bender. Fouled. This is where Indiana has been successful, is at the free throw line.
Spreen's got enough of that good first step, Greg, where she can do that. Kentucky didn't get any backside help that time defensively, and she took advantage of it.
Spreen misses there. Spreen went 5 of 6 from the line in the first half. Woodard 5 of 5. Harris 3 of 4. Then Spreen misses them both, but Woodard adds to her rebound total. Shot clock at 9. Harris, the step back from 16, no. And Bender eventually out of there with the rebound, and now that foul on Spreen is her 3rd. So first player in any real semblance of foul trouble in this game.
Wiseman's really been doing a good job of setting those high ball screens. You know, that's not something you go, oh, I want to be an all-star, but that's what she'll do at the next level too, where she'll play. She'll be involved in a lot of high ball screens.
Everybody's an all-star now. Not necessarily an all-star at the next level.
It is a different animal, I can tell you.
And if that's Spreen on a reach, that's 4. Let's see if that's Spreen or if that's Woodard. This could be a big call, and it's on Spreen.
Yeah, it sure is.
And before Andy McGuire can get out of the game, that's 4 fouls. So now she will sit for a good chunk of the second half. And again, we've not seen Jordan Poole. And on the low block, Palaio got the bucket to go. The hill has got a little harder to climb for Indiana. Walsh earned some extra minutes with her play in the first half. Woodard for 3. No. Fight for the loose ball and off her hands, out of bounds. Indiana still yet to make a 3-point basket in tonight's game. Boys game will follow, scheduled for a 7:30 tip-off. Lead pass a bit too strong. Kentucky leaving the door open because they're having trouble hanging on to the basketball. Jan, that is 4 turnovers in the first 3.5 minutes.
Well, some of that is because I think Indiana's defense has picked it up a notch. Now they've got to translate that over to their offense. We talked about in that first half, their defense was not that bad at all, but they've got to find and continue to find some more open shots.
Last night, 12 made threes. Tonight, 12 less than that. Harris,
there you go.
A long 2, but any bucket is like manna from heaven right now for Indiana.
Yes, sir. Fisher Tiger doing their work right there.
Trying to answer is Kentucky. That lengthy 3 is short by Drakeford. She's heading to play at Thomas More at the Division II level.
Nice pass.
Feed by Harris.
Nice
the bucket
pass.
by Wiseman. 6-point game.
That's what we're talking about, Greg. That's Indiana basketball right there. Great pass.
Wiseman, 18 points a game at Indian Creek on the drive, and Woodard got caught swatting down that time. 2 free throws coming up for Kentucky. And it's
take a look at this by the Fisher Tiger. No look, she knew where she was at the whole time, but give credit to getting open was Wiseman. I tell you, Wiseman talked about her earlier, setting that high ball screen, playing defense. She's got active away from the ball, Greg.
So here's Steele. 9 points in the first half. Connects. 25 points last night for the soon-to-be Penn State Nittany Lion.
For me, you have not arrived as a basketball player until you developed great passing. I just love great passing.
Walsh, good take, and got the make.
All of a sudden, Indiana's found the rim.
And Walsh is the rare player who has not decided yet as to where she's going to play college basketball. She's having a good effort tonight.
Now, all of a sudden, Kentucky, Greg, has got to find some offense.
Jan, you blink, it's a 5-point game.
I like it. Both teams, you know both teams. I talked about this in the opening. This is a marathon. A lot of girls, a lot of playing time, and somehow, some way, it's a basketball game, and you got to make it that.
Well, on to Wall, she played 6 minutes Wednesday. She played 5 minutes last night. She is well above that in this game. Good job by her to be mentally ready when her number was called tonight. Take advantage of the opportunity. And we've not seen Jordan Poole. Chloe Spreen has 4 fouls. 3 for Kentucky, no. Good weak side glass by Jasmine Jordan. And her pocket was picked by Walsh.
Wow, Jordan really had a good rebound right there. That was a very physical, good type of rebound.
That'll lead us to a media timeout. Walsh might have kind of inadvertently taken one in the face as she headed off to the sidelines. This timeout presented by our friends at the Ed Martin Automotive Group. I want to congratulate Talia Harris of Fishers and Reagan Wilson of Noblesville for representing those communities in tonight's Indiana-Kentucky All-Star game. Of course, Fishers and Noblesville, where you can find Ed Martin Automotive Group dealerships, as you can in Indianapolis and Anderson as well. When it comes to your next car, Ed Martin is the only name you need to know. Find out more at edmartin.com.
Greg, I just see what I want for Christmas.
Which is your Pacer scooter.
A Pacer scooter, I like it.
Now, Jan, for Pacers games, they have an Indy car that drives across the court to rev up the crowd. We got you are such a bringer of energy on these broadcasts. We got to find a way to see if we can get you in that car. Then again, I'm not sure you or I would fit in that car. We will do our best to make that happen for next year.
Listen, if you can get me in one, I don't really care if I ever get out.
Fair enough. So scoring in this one, Bender now 12, Steele with 10. For Indiana, Spreen with 9, still leads the way, and again, she's going to be sitting for some time as she has picked up that 4th foul.
Well, all of a sudden, you're starting to feel some energy in this building, too. A lot of that thanks to the Pacers for bringing and Chad and everybody else. But listen, at the end of the day, it's this women's basketball team who's cut this lead by Kentucky to 5, and a lot of that is energy.
One of the things that you and I are seeing as they kind of scroll through the crowd on our video board feed, and the video board is kind of big inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse. You've seen a lot of high schools that have brought their teams
I love it.
to watch this,
Yeah.
which is a great tradition to kind of renew.
It's the way it should be. Way it should be.
Runner and Harness in for Indiana. Wirtz in there as well. On the back door, Ken Indiana gets the steal. Here's Allie Harness. Now Runner headed to play at Evansville. Missed that one. Runner from Hamilton Heights. Averaged 27 points a game for the Huskies this year.
You've mentioned a couple times, but the director over this, Mike Broughton, just a great guy, works with us, worked with you a lot, and he has just did a wonderful, wonderful job of not only putting these teams, but bringing the energy back to the series. Really love it.
On the turnaround, shot is good for Amaya White. Her first field goal. Now Runner fires a three. Indiana still empty from three-point range this evening. Good job by Bender to run the floor. Harness did just enough to throw her off, so tracking the loose ball and fire a three. 15 for Bender, her fourth three.
Man, she's been the difference. She is flat out the reason Kentucky has and is maintaining this lead.
Woodard fouled. Well, I realize it goes against everything in modern basketball to not shoot threes. I'm not sure if I'm Indiana, I'm shooting any more threes at this point because they can't find the range.
They flat out not even close in some instances. Boy, that young lady right there, lighting it up. Louisville Cardinal fans got to be licking their chops with that.
Woodard connects. Again, Woodard's made just one field goal, but she's got 8 points and 8 rebounds. Walsh saw the fight doctor. She'll check back in if Woodard hits the second free throw and does. So Woodard with 9. Harness will check back out. Pocket pick by Walsh. How about this? Comes right back in the game, gets the steal, and lays it up and in.
And we talked about that's what will get Indiana back in this thing is some energy. And wow, that may be offensive.
Well, we also have an official.
Boy, he just flat out tweaked his knee too.
Yep, it's a knee or an Achilles, one of the two.
Oh man, been there.
Yep.
Oh my, he sure did twist that awkwardly.
Yep. Well, we've unfortunately that happened. Paul Herman is the trainer that is on duty. Paul is the lead trainer at Pike High School, and Paul is out there immediately. I think the call, which frankly is secondary at this point, is offensive foul. But right now, our concern is for David Talbot,
about it.
who is our official along with Kenya Jones and Maya Smith for tonight's contest.
And I can tell you, officiating basketball, there are times when the play and you're just trying to get out of the way or get in position to make a call, you can just get those knees and ankles moving in directions they weren't meant to do, and he flat out caught that thing too, man. I feel for him. I absolutely feel for him.
So he is being helped at the sidelines, and now looks like Kenya and Maya will call this as a two-person crew for the remainder of the game. And you know, you always say the last thing you want to see is somebody get hurt in an all-star game. That applies to our officials as well. Our best to David Talbot. We're going to show you the replay to determine the foul here. And I would agree with that, absolutely.
Yeah, anytime you use that off arm to get an advantage, officials are going to call that. That's a good call.
So Mike Broughton chatting things up with our remaining two officials at this point. This is where I'm reminded by our producer, Vince Morella, as Jan Bozer is a former licensed official. You bring your running shoes for this one?
Listen, getting down there would be exhausting. Forget refereeing. I'll tell you, I enjoyed every second of it, and I really encourage, you hear whether it's football, basketball, baseball, as an umpire too, get involved and do that. There's nothing better.
You know, the UFL has pioneered this thing called the Sky Judge. You can be the Sky Judge. How about that?
I could do that. I loved it. I actually had to give it up because the knees just couldn't go anymore. But I loved every second of it. You're down there, you're involved. It's a great thing to do. It really is. Well, this is back in the early days where we started two officials. That's the way it started.
Little zone look here by Kentucky. They've done this when White has been in the game. So Indiana kind of knew this was coming. And yes, folks, these teams scout each other. Harris, no. Woodard on the crash. Out of bounds to Kentucky.
Indiana's made a little bit of run. It's still a 6-point Kentucky lead with 3:12 left.
Walsh.
Yeah, now that's a slap down. That's good effort, but there's no question you cannot use that arm to reach.
Well, the other thing is, too, is that, again, normally you'd have an official that's kind of right there at that spot. And now because you got a two-person crew, you've got somebody calling that from, say, 30 feet away. And that's not a complaint about the officials, just the truth of the matter.
That's just the way it is, yeah.
So Drakeford to shoot 2. She misses. Drakeford yet to score tonight. Yesterday she played 6 minutes. Drakeford from Mercer County. They're going to play at Thomas More. Thomas More has kind of moved around a little bit. They played at the Division III level, then played at the NAIA level, and now they're in the Great Midwest Athletic Conference at Division II.
Tough pass.
Harris will track it down. And it's a 6-point game, and Woodard lost the handle.
Yeah, that was an error on Woodard. You can't put that one on the floor right there.
That's the first Indiana turnover of the half. White, the turnaround, no. And Woodard will lead the break, has Walsh in front. Perfect lead pass, and Walsh got it to go.
4-point ball game. Kentucky still leads.
Walsh with 8. Jan, you're right. This is as close as this has been in some time. And Runner applying the pressure.
A lot more physicality by both teams. In high school, a lot of those you see a foul. In the college level, the officiating allows a little more physicality.
And again, frankly, with 2 officials, you're going to have probably less fouls called.
That's probably right.
Just the nature of it. Players have to adjust. Steal by Indiana. And it's the defense that has brought Indiana back in it. Good look by Runner.
Good ball rotation.
Walsh, no. Indiana still 0 for the night from 3-point range, and Runner tracks it down.
Boy, what effort by Runner. Still need to get something here.
Harris had a look, turns it down. Runner does not. Wiseman will check in next, dead ball for Indiana. And we've not seen Jordan Poole tonight. She's on the bench, but wearing a warm-up top. And then Chloe Spreen picked up fouls 3 and 4 in short order early in the third quarter. Harris will pull from 14. There's Woodard, got fouled. Woodard now with 11 rebounds and a chance to pick up 2 more. So as Woodard goes to the line, let's congratulate all of these Indiana All-Stars and the good folks at Lee Company. Lee Company is Indiana's largest school equipment supplier. From bleachers to lockers, chairs to cafe tables, basketball goals to wall pads, Lee Company is your source. And in Northwest Indiana, Sean Doherty's your guy. 765-586-9706. So a double-double for Woodard. She makes them both. Now she will get a breather. I would imagine she's back in to start the fourth quarter. As Wiseman comes in, Wirtz joins her as well.
Well, I thought her energy was really good. All that being said, Kentucky still has this lead and has still played pretty well. Indiana's certainly played their best quarter so far.
Steele, good pull-up.
Still's a solid ball player.
Got a dozen.
Penn State.
Yep. The drive by Runner to the window.
And I like the way she used her body there. She was a little undersized against the defender, but used her body to create a little space and finish.
Jan, it's a 2-point game. Under a minute to play here in the quarter. Good trap employed by Indiana. Steele in a tough spot, and a timeout going to be called by Kentucky. Just to ensure that they keep the possession. Both coaches now with 2 timeouts remaining for the remainder of this game. Today's game presented in part by our friends at Coca-Cola of Kokomo. Proud to support Allie Harness of Carroll High School in tonight's Indiana-Kentucky All-Star Classic. Coca-Cola of Kokomo has been serving North Central Indiana since 1907. Proud to serve as the official hydration partner of 26 schools around the region, including Carroll High School. Find out more at cckokomo.com.
Yeah, and I talked in halftime, Greg, it would take energy, and clearly energy has found itself here for this Indiana ball club, specifically at the guards. I really like the way they have really extended their pressure and caused some problems for Kentucky. They've dug this thing back to a 2-point lead for Kentucky.
So 5 on the floor for Indiana. Walsh, Runner, Wirtz, Wiseman, Wilson. For Kentucky. Steele, Jones, Paleo, Varney, and Bender. Shot clock at 15. Steele, 5 seconds. Yeah, it was close.
Didn't get it. And I like the fact here's the mechanics of official. Some don't do it, but they're supposed to. She showed the count. That allows the coaches and the players to understand where the count's at.
Runner has to come out. I think there might be she may have a cut, I believe. Yep. Paul Herman's getting way too much work. Paul, former roommate of mine, right on the road when we would travel together for IUPUI basketball games. Always good to see Paul. Of course, we see his Pike Red Devils a lot on the ISC Sports Network. So Harris back in. Spreen sits with 4 fouls. Chance to tie or take the lead. If Indiana were to take the lead, have to make a 3-point field goal for the first time tonight. Wilson pressured, shot clock at 4. Has to go up. Wilson finds space and got bailed out. Paleo got her on the wrist. And Wilson will shoot 2 and have a chance to tie the game.
Well, there was a lot of contact prior to the shot. Kind of let that one go, and I think it was a combination of multiple hits, I think, that finally got the call.
Wilson with 3. 16 points a game, playing for Donna Buckley in Noblesville. Reagan had 11 last night in 30 minutes played. She'll play in the Big 12 at Iowa State. Connects again.
Have you ever been to Iowa State?
I have not, but there's a chance I'm going in November. I don't think I'm allowed to say why yet, but you can probably put 2 and 2 together as to why I might be going. Ball thrown off the leg of Jones. That is, Jan, the 11th turnover of the quarter by Kentucky.
Well, and a lot of that is Indiana. Some of that is a little bit of Kentucky, I think, just slightly taking their foot off the gas a little bit.
If I go to Iowa State, I will offer Rob Lynch the chance to carpool with us. 9 seconds to go in the quarter.
I was just finding if there's someplace you haven't been.
That's the one. Wilson drives. Wilson a window. Wilson, no tip. No. But Indiana has tied the game after being down double digits for a good chunk of it. 47 apiece with 10 minutes of basketball left to go. We're back at Gamebridge Field after this as you are watching the ISC Sports Network.
The action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups or the whole family. Tickets available at Indy11.com. Indy 11, world's game, Indiana's team.
At Forum Credit Union, we know it's not always easy to manage your finances. That's why we post quick tip videos and infographics every month to help you with all of life's big and small financial decisions. Follow us today and access free resources at forumcu.com.
You ever been out to dinner or at a movie and somebody goes, "Is there a doctor in the house?" Well, tonight we may have said, "Is there a referee in the house?" That's a good friend of mine.
Yes.
Ryan Kent We see Ryan calling some Marion women's games. Ryan, at a younger day, he had a little more hair on top of his head than he had now. Ryan used to work for our sister company, ETC Sports, in Southeast Indiana, was an aspiring broadcaster. Ryan has now gone the officiating route and kind of the racing broadcaster route. And Ryan, I'm not sure if I assume he was here because to watch his good buddy, Coach Simpson from Greensburg, Ryan was formerly on his staff. And so needing a third official, I hope Ryan's getting loose and is ready to go. He's going to come on and join us for the fourth quarter. Again, he's a college official that's going to jump in here and help us know we were a referee short after an injury to David Talbot.
But that is the mark of a good official. You always have your equipment
Have the
ready.
gear. You never know. Have the gear.
Family, you wait. Everybody waits, but I do have my gear ready to go.
I'm not sure what you make for working just one quarter. You get free tickets to the series at least next year.
Well, listen, his name is going to be really broadcast now.
Also doesn't hurt when the play-by-play guy knows you.
That's very true. Well, of course, you know everybody.
Steal for three, no. Again, we have talked about the three-point shooting for Indiana. Well, in Kentucky, it's been much better, largely because of Reagan Bender. She's made 4.
But short of her, it hadn't been very consistent by nobody. She's the one player on the floor that has had some consistency from the three-point range.
Indiana's last lead was 5-3. Walsh fouled, and she'll have a chance to put Indiana in front for the first time since the opening 2 minutes of the game. Let's also note, Spreen is back in there, Jan, with 4 fouls, excuse me. Here's Walsh. Misses that one. And Walsh was a non-factor the first 2 games that the Indiana seniors played this week, and she has been splendid off the bench tonight and puts Indiana in front.
How about that?
She's got 9. And again, she is undecided on college plans.
Let me tell you, she can play somewhere.
She may get an offer after tonight.
Well, and there's a lot of truth to that.
Here's Drakeford. Steal, air ball. And maybe it's just into the floor, Jan, because the movement has just stopped for Kentucky on this side of the ledger. And it has been a split between these teams the last several years.
Well, and you mentioned a couple times Kentucky's bench is a little bit thinner tonight, and certainly they miss basketball Trinity role playing.
Woodard dives over the ball. She kind of threw her body into Destiny Jones, hoping to get a foul call, and didn't. And Indiana swept this series in 14, 15, and 16. The 2 teams have split the last 6 times they have played. Kentucky last swept this series in 2012. And Indiana leads the all-time series 54-41.
I didn't see that the first time around, but Woodard fell on the basketball. That's why she was a little slow getting up. Looks like she's all right, but she literally fell on the basketball.
You get the feeling Woodard, when she plays, is a walking bruise anyway.
Well, that's the way she plays the game, but clearly that's what Michigan State really likes about her, too.
Bender. Again, she's been the one player that has found the range tonight, but couldn't get that to go.
Indiana doing a better job on the rim, rebounding too, Greg.
Kentucky now 5 of 14 from three-point range. Bender has 4 of those 5. Walsh, 3, no. It's not been from outside the arc for Indiana.
Note to Indiana, they may just want to stay away from that shot.
It's been from the line and from the paint. It's been old school basketball. A foul on Harris, and that's just the first foul of the quarter against Indiana. It's not been pretty, but it's been spirited between these 2 teams.
Yeah, no doubt, and we figured it would. Motivation on both sides, really.
Wiseman.
And Wiseman continuing to battle on the boards. Greg, she's been a difference maker on the rim here in this 4th period and 3rd period.
And let's face it, Faith is going to have an adjustment. You know, the level that Indiana plays at now. I mean, they hung with South Carolina in the NCAA tournament. She is going to one of the top programs in the country. Clearly she's got the raw materials there, but that physicality that she's getting tonight is going to pay dividends for her going forward. Harris on the drive and missed it.
Got to finish that.
Good look ahead pass. Bender, the catch.
That's a pretty pass right there.
For Bender, that is her second 2-point field goal. She leads all scorers with 17. Nobody for Indiana has more than Woodard's 11. That's going to be a foul on Destiny Jones. And for Kentucky, that is team foul number 3, so 2 away from Indiana being in the penalty the rest of this game. Mariah Knight back in for Kentucky. Reagan Wilson returns for Walsh. And Walsh gets a hand from her teammates. So Kentucky playing 10 tonight, Indiana playing 12 with no pool. The runner by Harris blocked. Touch last by Kentucky. Good find by Woodard. Wiseman.
That's what I'm talking about, Greg. Right there it is, baby.
They'll be adversaries in the fall at Indiana and Michigan State, but they combine for a thing of beauty here.
That's seeing the floor. That's what basketball is about, is really seeing those back cuts. Beautiful pass.
Foul against Wiseman. It'll be her second. Her second of the team, I should say, of the quarter. This is her second for the game as well. And Spreen's got 4 for Kentucky. Jones, Knight, Steele all have 3.
You know, while certainly Indiana has not shot the ball from outside incredibly well, what they have done a lot better is energy and just being patient and letting the game come to them, making some really nice plays.
By the way, great job to have that basket mic going by our crews. You can hear the activity, and a 5-second call against Knight. I want to thank all the guys at Pacer Sports Entertainment, namely Brian, Joey, and the rest of the kind of production crew that allow us to come in and do these games. Second year in a row that we've been here. Harris, good find. Is the drought over? No. Woodard couldn't corral it. Steele for 3. Yes.
Boy, that was huge for Kentucky, Greg. They had been a little bit quiet from outside themselves here in the second half. That one was big.
Jalen Steele, her second 3. She's got 15. She and Bender have 32 of their 52. Spreen, right idea.
It was there. Just ever so slightly later, but I love the thought right there. I don't criticize that at all.
And while in Kentucky, we've talked about having this many turnovers, Indiana, 3 in the second half.
Yeah. Well, there's no question for me. The play really on both sides has settled down and played much better basketball, specifically here in this fourth quarter play.
How about Steele? 25 last night, 17 this evening. And as her team has been challenged, she has stepped up. Kentucky back in front by 4. Good read by Jones. She did touch it last. Out of bounds to Indiana.
Well, still averaged 21 a game for her high school, so she's certainly comfortable scoring.
Walsh back in for Harris. Obviously playing time now earned on both these sides.
As it should be. Now it's win time, Greg, whatever it takes.
Shot clock at 9. Woodard here in the countdown. Spreen needs to find a window, couldn't do it.
Hey, let's give Kentucky a little credit on that one.
Absolutely.
Their defense was really solid out there on the perimeter. There was nowhere to go.
I mentioned last year, these were 2 low-scoring games. Last night, a little higher pace, higher productivity. Last year winning scores around 70, and I'm not sure we're getting that far tonight. Steps called, yep. Switched a pivot foot.
Quite honestly, there's that one stat, and you talked about it. You get a lot of those in this game, and Kentucky with 23, or this thing may not be as close as it is.
Indiana's in the game, Jan, and they've shot 26% from the field. Wiseman will help that stat. She's got 10. And if Wiseman can roll to the basket like that, there'll be a place for her at Indiana University.
No question. A little block there by Wiseman. How about getting back, playing a little defense in an all-star game?
Defense not been a problem for either team tonight than steal. And that's 4 on steal. That's a big foul for Kentucky. 4th team foul for Kentucky in our final media timeout. Tonight's game presented in part by the Pearson Automotive Tennis Club. Congratulates Emma Hahn of Zionsville for her performance in representing Zionsville in the Indiana All-Stars. Pearson Automotive Tennis Club is Indiana's premier indoor tennis facility. Located in Zionsville, they got 8 indoor courts that allow you to play, learn, and stay in shape, rain or shine. Let me give you an example. Last Saturday, the IHSA Girls State Finals were being contested at North Central. Mother Nature had other ideas. Who did the IHSA call to get indoor courts, play a state championship? It's Pearson Automotive Tennis Club in Zionsville. You can find out more at pearsontennis.com or call 317-559-7100 to reserve your court time or book a lesson today.
You still playing a lot of tennis? You always have.
Not as much as I would like to. This whole job and raising children thing kind of gets in the way. But I'm hopeful over the next couple of weeks. I last played 2 weeks ago.
All right.
Almost was to the point of like using actual strategy in the match and things like that. So hopefully sooner rather than later. Jan, speaking of strategy, what's going to be the difference here in the final 4 minutes and 29 seconds?
Well, listen, as well as Indiana has played, they played pretty well. They're still down by 2. Kentucky holding serve so far. You got to play it on the defensive side. I think their guards have been the difference, making stops and steals. I think shot selection, Greg. Indiana's got to understand that three-point shot has not been kind. Don't waste a possession unless it's automatic.
So Woodard, Walsh, Wilson, Wiseman, and Spreen. Kentucky yet to break the huddle. And both teams have 2 timeouts remaining, as you see on your screen. Next Kentucky foul puts Indiana in the penalty. Indiana has a couple of fouls to work with.
I think this possession right here, little rest coming out of the timeout. This is a big one.
2 to tie, 3 to take the lead if you're Indiana. But a 3 would be the first of the night. Spreen splits defenders. Good look that wouldn't go. Paleo the rebound. Good high-low, but better, well done by Indiana. Wiseman knocked it free. Spreen looking to lead the break. Walsh for the lead. No, but there's Wiseman. Good hustle by Wilson to track it down. Spreen for the tie. No. Bender. Not there. And Spreen will track things down. No basket coming easily for either side. And frankly, both these teams a little gassed. Long 2, no. Wiseman hangs on to it. There's Woodard in traffic. And Woodard will have 2 free throws to tie it.
Now how about Wiseman getting their hands on multiple possessions here to help a second effort.
Jasmine Jordan will check back in. She had 7 first-half points.
Wiseman and Woodard really elevating their games, Greg, I think, here in this 4th quarter of play.
Woodard will make the free throw.
Got to hit him now. Got to hit free throws now. Down the stretch with 3:21. You're going to win this. It may come at the free throw line, and that's not surprising.
And hits them both. And Shaylin Steele kind of almost went AAU there. It's like, I'll just come in. No, you got to wait. They're trying to go offense, defense with her with 4 fouls. They bring her back in for this handle again. Both teams only have 2 timeouts remaining.
Oh, pretty pass.
Great lead, Jordan.
Boy, that was perfection right there.
Kentucky back in front after Indiana had tied it. Kentucky's had an answer for Indiana every time so far. Wiseman turns, finds Woodard. Woodard the basket, 15 for Julianne Woodard.
I tell you, those guys are going to be competitors, but they sure play awful well together.
Woodard, that's just her 2nd field goal of the game, yet she's got 15 points. She's made 11 free throws in the game. Indiana's had a couple of 1-point leads here late in the half. Shot clock at 8 again.
There's another
finding
good
Jordan
pass.
and the bucket.
Oh, my. If Kentucky wins, that may be as close to a play of the game as you're going to get.
Jordan last night had 5 rebounds.
Look at this
and
pass.
4 points.
Wow. That was perfect. Take a look here at this pass right here. You just can't make any better than that. And she had the strength, Greg, to put that thing in. That's a huge play for Kentucky.
3-point lead. Jordan now the 3rd Kentucky player in double figures. Drive and dish by Spreen. Walsh. Finally!
It is possible.
Indiana has made a 3 and tied the game at 59.
Wow. And maybe none better than right then. Oh, I don't think that's anything. I didn't see any contact really at all. I think she may have just kind of lost her balance a little bit.
What it is a turnover.
Yeah.
And now Indiana has a chance to take the lead yet again. And their largest lead has been 5. Kentucky has led by double digits on several occasions, especially in the first half. Indiana looking for the sweep, the first one in 8 years.
Kentucky switching on everything now, trying to put pressure.
Shot clock at 9. Wiseman serves as the fulcrum.
Got to get something here.
Spreen found a sliver
Count
of space.
Count it!
And when it gets to winning time, Miss Basketball with a big-time bucket. Indiana in front by 2.
And that's what you want. You wear that number 1 in your jersey because of what you have provided at a high level, and it's your time. And boy, that's as good a play she's made all day.
You talk about Woodard and Wiseman going to be rivals. Well, Spreen and Woodard have been rivals probably since birth. Bedford, North Lawrence, and Jennings County, in the Hoosier Hills Conference, and it's been Bedford that has been in Jennings County's way for the last several years. Who's the first player to congratulate Spreen? Woodard after that bucket.
That's pretty cool. That's what this All-Star Weekend is all about. Bringing rivals together, camaraderie, getting a chance to play a lot of basketball and play for your school, your state, your parents, everybody. But I'll tell you right now, for Indiana, they got to remember where Reagan Bender's at. She's been the hot hand for 3, and they're down 3, still plenty of time. But Indiana, my point is, they've got to know where she's at, Greg.
So 62-59. That timeout taken by Kentucky. They only have 1 more timeout remaining. Indiana has 2.
I'm not sure we were ever going to get to this point. How Indiana has come back to find this 3-point lead, and literally couldn't find the ocean if they were on the beach. That's how they could not shoot. And boy, somehow, some way, and the energy came around, and all of a sudden the defense came around, and here we are with Indiana up by 3 with 137. The crowd's in it. Here we go, Greg.
So again, Kentucky can advance the ball. Again, that's one of the differences you see. Obviously, the length of the quarters, 8 versus 10. But in women's college basketball, like the NBA, WNBA, you can advance the ball in a timeout.
I like it. I like that rule.
So Kentucky does that here.
Especially when the games are closer near the end of the half. I love it.
It's frankly why coaches hold on to a couple of timeouts late for that exact reason.
Who's going to win this battle? Oh, there's a hop. Didn't get caught. Yep. The fan in front of it's heated.
He does not have a whistle, however.
He does not.
He thinks he does. He does not. Good slip to Paleo. Paleo's jump shot. No. But there's Destiny Jones. Shot blocked. Got it back. Left it short. Spreen toughs it out.
Hey, let me tell you something. Indiana did a smart thing there. Hands were all straight up. You see 3 players, Greg, down there on that possession, all with the hands straight up, made it and physical. As long as you keep those hands up, more specifically in college, you're not going to get that call most of the time. That was really smart defense. Take a look right here. Look, watch the hands, Greg. Hands straight up, no foul. Hands straight up, still no foul. And finally come down with the rebound. That's just solid defense by Indiana women.
But Spreen has missed now 3 free throws in tonight's game. By the way, we have an official explanation on Jordan Poole. Orbital soreness after last night's game and was not cleared to play tonight. So hence the reason why we have not seen her in the game this evening. So injured last night, unable to play this evening. 63-15. I want to make sure we cleared that up.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. It really is.
How about that for Bender?
I tell you, who we just talked about. Literally just said you got to know where she's at, and they may have known and she still hit it.
That is her 5th three. She's got 20 points to lead all scores.
Well, if Kentucky holds on to win, she's MVP. There's no doubt.
Wiseman, good feed. No need to be in a big hurry, but you'll take a layup. Yep, well done by Spreen.
Yeah, Spreen had a little hesitation there that got the defense leaning the wrong way.
And look who's picked up her game late, Chloe Spreen.
Yeah, no, that's a good call, Greg.
So again, a 3-point game. Wilson shadowing Bender. And Woodard foul before the shot.
Yeah.
And Indiana had a foul to give.
Yep.
So underneath out of bounds, coming up here for Kentucky. Next foul is 2 shots. That was team foul number 4. Andy McGuire wants a timeout. Let's take it with him, shall we? 24 seconds left to play. Indiana leads Kentucky by 3. We're back in 30 seconds on the ISC Sports Network.
What's in a name? What's in a name? Ed Martin Automotive Group, the only name you need to know.
Greg Rexdorf, Jan Bozier with you on the ISC Sports Network. We have been thrilled to be a part of all of the games played in Indiana this week. Juniors against Kentucky and Scottsburg, futures at HSC on Monday in Kokomo at Memorial Gym for the juniors versus seniors on Wednesday night. Nowhere else we'd rather be this first week of June.
Love it. I love the fact we're back here at Gamebridge. This is really the mecca for Indiana basketball, and to be able for these young men and women to get to play here. What an honor, and it's never love anything more than getting to broadcast here.
One stop away for Indiana getting the sweep. Ball has to come in here. Good cut by Bender, fouled. Bender shoots 2.
That's a well-designed play out of bounds. They had a little movement, then a high ball screen, and the inbound passer was looking for her to hesitate, I should say, and cut. Take a look. She hesitated off that high ball screen, and here she is.
Bender makes the first, and Indiana has one time able to use it to advance the ball here. Missed. Rebound by Wiseman. Walsh.
Got to get it out of there. Get it out of there. There you go.
And now, timeout called by Andy McGuire
That's
again.
a good call. That's a good call.
Just to avoid the potential 10-second violation. And about 4 seconds left to work with. Indiana takes a timeout. Let's again take a quick 30-second break with them. Hoosiers have the 2-point lead with 16 seconds to go in the World Series of High School Basketball on ISC.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
Let's thank our ISC Sports Network crew. Vince Morales, Brian Pierce, Daryl Tibbs, Nick Rice, Rob Lynch, Richard Feely, and Eldon Wheeler alongside Jan Bozier, Greg Rakestraw with you. And now that Indiana has taken that timeout, again, they really, I'm not sure, I don't think they can advance the ball kind of where that timeout was taken. So again, you got 4 seconds to get the ball into the front court if you're Indiana. If you're Kentucky, I think you can play the ball and get to the front court, then you have to foul at that point.
I completely agree. 16.5 is a lot of time. This game is far from being decided here. Smart basketball has got to come into play.
And goes back to in front of the Kentucky bench. Woodard being told she has to stay put. Sarai Darrington in her 6'2 frame trying to impede Woodard's progress. And Kentucky was a player short. Yeah, it's kind of important.
Listen, that was a big play. The assistant coach caught that. And that's what you're supposed to be watching for. Somebody didn't understand they were still. That could have been disastrous for Kentucky.
I think we need a timeout to wipe a little blood off the floor as the indication from our staff. It's been that kind of game. It's been that competitive. Again, I mentioned this in terms of last year's scores. 72-62 and 71-67. This game a lot like that one.
Well, somebody's not happy with what's on the floor.
What it is basically there's a different protocol in the NBA than you would have,
I would think,
in a high school game, basically. And that's where kind of the worlds are colliding. So that's what part of the event staff that is used to working Pacers and Fever games are saying, hey, we have to have the trainer come out and properly wipe this down with alcohol, etc. In other words, you can't just take a towel and smear it. And my buddy Paul had no idea he would be getting this level of court time and camera time in tonight's game. Folks at Francis can help providing the training services for tonight's game. So that's the reason for the extra bit of delay.
Hey, do it right.
Now we've got that taken care of. This is literally not the equivalent of just wipe some dirt on it.
No.
You gotta do things a little bit differently.
I get it.
Woodard gets in the front court. Now Wilson trying to hang on to the basketball. And the jump ball, luckily for Indiana, stays with Indiana. Possession arrow points that way. So now the shot clock is turned off. And if you're Kentucky, I think you got to foul as soon as the ball is inbounded.
Yeah, I
here.
absolutely would agree. There it is.
And frankly, Spreen has hit some big shots, but she's also missed some free throws tonight. She's been there a lot, but she's also had 4 misses.
Now, once again, let's see what happens here. At the other side, Reagan Bender, wants the ball.
Makes this one out. I can do the math. There's a big difference in making this free throw and not. Again, Kentucky needs to hold the timeout to advance the ball if necessary. Misses this one. They'll play it out. Now they'll call the timeout. So Kentucky with a 3 to tie. And now you play the game if you're Indiana. Do you foul? And if you do, when do you foul here? Up 3. And we'll have a minimum of 20 minutes between games. Our boys game is scheduled again at 7:30.
Well, if you're going to foul, you foul late. You don't want to foul early.
And I think that Kentucky is being told that because the player dribbled, you don't get to advance the ball. If you had called that timeout before she put it on the floor, you get the ball in the front court. Instead, you have to go to the back court.
That's a big difference, too.
Yep.
With 9.5 left on the clock, that's worth at least, what, 2 or 3 seconds?
And frankly, if you're Indiana, both teams now out of timeouts. You're not going to give a foul in the back court when a player gets about half court. That's when you think about giving that foul. You're watching the Kentucky huddle. Jan and I are eyeballing the Indiana huddle where literally they're going, hey, this is where the ball's inbounded. This is what the strategy is going to be here. We will exit stage left pretty quickly at the end of this game to give our crew some downtime for the boys game that again will probably start in the vicinity of 7:35 or 7:40.
Here we go, Greg, for the win.
Here's Steele. Walsh not given a foul. Bender trying to get a look. Bender left it short. Jones the putback. I think a foul is going to be called, but with it being a 3-point game, I'm not sure it's going to matter. So let's see exactly how this is going to play out. There may be some time put back on the clock. So Bender got a good look from 3.
Now, where was the foul called?
Foul was on Jones on the putback attempt.
Okay.
So they're going to put some time on the clock. Jones will go to the free throw line. Exactly how much time is left, we'll see. And again, obviously, she's got to point 3.
So point 3 gives you a shot.
You can tip. So literally she has to make one, miss the second, and you have to somehow have a player get a finger on it and put it back towards the rim with point 3 left.
At the end of the day, you have a living breath left because you still have an opportunity. Anything less than 3, you can't do it. Point 3, I should say.
So Jones, and now it's Academic.
Yep.
Makes it. Then again, just chuck the ball long. That's it. Indiana wins it. Indiana gets the sweep. They win it 66-64. Jan, your final thoughts on this one?
Well, you kind of wondered if they could find that next level of energy, and I think the coaching staff did a really good job. They just clawed and scratched to get this win. It wasn't pretty. The Indiana have like 1 3-pointer, and that was it. They overcame that. They overcame it with just hustle and desire. Congratulations to the ladies. How about that? A sweep.
Well, the player that hit the 3 is our blue-collar player of the game, brought to us by Boilermakers Local 374, Lauren Walsh of Penn High School. Become a Union Boilermaker. Be on your way to a great career. Find out more when you log on to local374.org. Jan, she barely played the first 2 games of the week. She gets extra minutes tonight with no Jordan Poole. Chloe Spreen having foul trouble, and she ends up with 13 points. And yes, the lone 3-pointer made tonight for Team Indiana.
Look at the score. How big was the 3-pointer now? Pretty big.
Scoring tonight for Indiana, 16 for Chloe Spreen, 15 for Julianne Woodard, 13 for Lauren Walsh. For Kentucky, Reagan Bender, 21, Shaylin Steele, 17, and Jasmine Jordan, 12. Tonight's game on the ISC Sports Network, presented in part by Coca-Cola of Kokomo. Proud to be a part of Kokomo and North Central Indiana since 1907. By Duke Homes, many promise, we deliver. By the Ed Martin Automotive Group, the only name you need to know. By Forum Credit Union, helping people live their financial dreams for over 80 years. And they practice services. Visit them online, forumcu.com. By the Indy 11 World's Game, Indiana's team. Get your tickets at indy11.com/tickets. By Lee Company, Indiana's largest school equipment supplier, and by the Pearson Automotive Tennis Center, 8 year-round world-class indoor courts in Zionsville. Again, we will take a break. We will come back right before tip-off of the boys' game against Kentucky. Again, I would say give us about 20 minutes. Plan on rejoining us at 7:35. But for now, for Jan Bozier and our entire ISC Sports Network crew, this is Greg Rakestraw. Thanks for joining us for the World Series of high school basketball. Indiana beats Kentucky 66-64. Thanks for joining us on ISC.
Don't miss any of the action. Support the boys in blue. There's fun for groups of the whole family. Tickets available at indy11.com. Indy 11, World's Game, Indiana's team.
What's in a name?